Derby Wars, racing's biggest contest site, is now even bigger with more than 200 games every day. Check out Survivor, Derby Wars' hottest new game. It's fun, easy to play, and for just $4 you could win $1,000. Just pick a horse to finish first, second, or third and advance to the next race. With daily payouts and games starting every hour, you'll see why fans are racing to play Survivor.
Welcome to another edition of HorseCenter, everyone. I am Brian Zipsy, and as always, I have the terrific pleasure of being joined by my co-host to the East Coast. That's Matt Schiffman. How are you today, Matt?
I'm great, Brian. And just for information's sake, it's only 117 days until the Kentucky Derby.
117 days, and it was only 11 degrees in Kentucky the last couple days, Matt. Hopefully it'll be better weather in about 117 days for the Kentucky Derby. And Matt, that's exactly what we're talking about. I have good news as well. Brett Workman, our fearless producer, has brought back the bell, Matt. There it is. I wanted to make sure that you weren't too long-winded in your responses today, so I've asked Brett to put us both on the timer, Matt. We get 45 seconds per segment, and then a 15-second answer, rebuttal, agreement, whatever it may be, and then we move on. Folks, what we're talking about today is the Kentucky Derby. The top contenders, as Matt and I see them, 117 days out. We're going to talk about 14 different contenders today. I'm going to give 7. Matt's going to give 7. We're going to go rapid fire, but we're going to give as much information as we can on these horses in 45 seconds. Matt, are you ready for this?
I'm ready, Brian.
You don't have to be that fast, Matt.
Okay.
You got 45 seconds. All right, here we go. Matt, as the host, I have taken it upon myself to make the first draft pick here in our Kentucky Derby contenders list, and I'm going to take Classic Empire, to no surprise at all, the son of Pioneer of the Nile. Matt, you remember Pioneer of the Nile as a horse running second in the Kentucky Derby, son of Empire Maker, who won the Belmont Stakes, sired a Triple Crown winner already in American Pharoah a few years ago. Classic Empire has Cat Thief on the bottom side. He's bred to run long. He's a multiple graded stakes winner already. He's a 3-time graded stakes winner, Matt. Classic Empire, trained by Mark Casse, probably the hottest trainer in the country, or one of the very hottest trainers in the country, at least here in Kentucky, although he gets around for sure. So it seems like Classic Empire has everything going for him. I don't often say that about Breeders' Cup juvenile winners, but this horse has it all. His only loss... Wow, that goes fast.
I can't disagree with you, Brian. We met Classic Empire this summer at Saratoga. Aimed for the Holy Bull, back training, and he's everybody's number 1 right now. Brian, I'm up with number 2, and I think nobody's surprised my number 2 pick is McCracken. McCracken has done nothing wrong in 3 starts for trainer Ian Wilkes, typically a trainer that takes his time with 2-year-olds, but this one was so good. This one went out and won his 2-year-old race, came back and won the Street Sense Stake at Churchill Downs, came back and won the Kentucky Jockey Club at Churchill Downs. I love that home field advantage. A ghost zapper, and is also a homebred from the Witham family. This horse has done nothing wrong. Kentucky, the East Coast hold the edge in the Kentucky Derby this year. Ian Wilkes is a trainer, Matt, who doesn't usually have his horses geared up first time. So for this horse to be undefeated, mind you, 3 races, all at Churchill Downs, it's a good sign. I love the way he finishes. I like McCracken too. Where's the bell, Brett? There it is. I knew it was coming. Matt, my number 3 horse is going to be Mastery. Mastery has mastered his opponent so far in 3 starts. He's one of the highly regarded Bob Baffert horses out in the West Coast. Of course, Bob Baffert has about the best record of any modern trainer in the Triple Crown and the Kentucky Derby. This is another one. I will mention that being out of Candy Ride, out of an old Trieste mare, I do wonder if 1.25 miles will be his best distance, but he's been so impressive in his 3 starts. He's got speed. He finishes well. He absolutely dominated his competition in the Los Al Cash Call Futurity. I wonder how good that
competition was, so things will get tougher for Mastery. But so far, in 3 starts for Bob Baffert, all out in California.
Yeah, Brian, let me pick up where you were saying about the cash call futurity. I thought that was a pretty weak field in there, so I'm not completely sold on Mastery, and he hasn't worked yet this year, so a little question mark there. Okay, number 4 on the list comes from me. That is Practical Joke. Is it possible that a number 4 could be flying a little bit under the radar? But that's what I feel with Practical Joke. Chad Brown, 4 races, 3 wins, 2 grade 1s, the Hopeful, the Champagne. This horse ran third, his only non-win in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, which is, I think, turning out to be a particularly strong edition of the Juvenile. Ran a really good race in there, didn't have the best of trips, got a little trouble, bumped out of the gate, had to weave in and out of the track. I love his progression and his speed figures. Every race has gotten better. This is
He's a good horse, Matt, but I tell you what, I don't have him anywhere near number 4 on my list. He looks like a classic one-turn rallier to me. You can see he struggled to get by Syndergaard in the Champagne, and then in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, he got close at the top of the lane and couldn't finish. Okay, number 5, Motown, Matt. This is Uncle Mo. We're going to be talking about Uncle Mo's, I think, for years to come. Motown has not gotten a lot of ink or gotten the same amount of ink as horses we've mentioned above him, but I've liked his progression a lot. After a good second-place finish, he came right back at a mile at Belmont, and he romped home, Matt. Then we saw him 9 furlongs. Nobody else on this list has won at 9 furlongs. He looked very good, taking on the speed, putting him away, and having plenty left in the stretch for another good horse in the Remsen Stakes. Tony Dutro is a trainer that doesn't get as much attention as some of the big names either, but I love Tony Dutro is one of the best in the business. I think Motown is the top contender that I saw out of New York.
Hey, Brian, as soon as you see Uncle Mo, you got to stop and pause and give the horse extra consideration. He's already won the Kentucky Derby last year with Nyquist. You know, question marks, this Winter Derby trail in New York has not been real productive. I'm number 6, and that's Gormley. What a race, Brian, in the Sham this weekend. Gormley, an American anthem, throwing it down almost the entire way around the racetrack, down the stretch. Powerful performance. Gormley won that battle against a highly regarded horse. This is about Malibu Moon. This one has the breeding, the connections, John Sheriff's, the Mosses. They won the Derby in 2005, so they know how to get it done, even though we think of Sheriff's horses developing late. So that's a feather in the cap for Gormley in this race. A 94 Beyer figure in the Sham.
Loved his performance in the Sham. I thought those 2 horses are must-includes in the top 10, American Anthem and Gormley. I'm not sure which is better, but Gormley looked good doing it. He looked good in the front runner, too. And, Matt, I was one of many that had Giacomo that day at 50-1 odds. All right, Matt, number 7 on my list is Saints Fan. This is a horse who has Dallas Stewart's hands all over him. I mean that in the nicest possible way. Stewart is the breeder, owner, and trainer. And, of course, Dallas Stewart has a very good record bringing dark horses into the Kentucky Derby. What if he brings one of the favorites, Matt? Saints Fan is a son of Tale of a Cotty out of a Sky Mesa mare. Not breeding that you would say, oh, that's classic breeding, but I like both sides of the breeding, good all the way down. He's been explosive sprinting so far. He did it at Churchill Downs already. He did it in a state bred stakes in Louisiana. He is a Louisiana bred, but I want to see this horse stretch out. If he looks this good, finishing so fast in sprints, I can't wait.
Yeah, Brian, I think we're going to see this horse on the Louisiana trail to the Derby. It's Dallas Stewart, Brian. Maybe a nice 2nd or 3rd or 4th place in the Derby, as Stewart has done before. Number 8 is Battalion Runner. This is a new one. The Battalion Runner just broke his maiden on New Year's Eve day at Gulfstream, going 7 furlongs. I love that, going 7 furlongs, and he was spectacular. A 98 Beyer speed figure, a 122 and change, winning that race by 8 3/4 lengths. It's from our friend Vinny Viola and his St. Elias stable. Unbridled Song. It's Pletcher, $700,000 Keeneland yearling. He made his first start at Belmont in June and then needed some time off. And boy, did he come back running. I like this horse a lot, Brian.
You didn't even hear the bell. That's good, Matt. Battalion Runner looked awfully good. I like the fact that he had a start in the summer and then came back. That probably gives him just a little bit extra foundation. Obviously, he's very talented, son of Unbridled Song. I think that's our first Todd Pletcher horse on the list, Matt, so that's interesting. We both like Battalion Runner. Number 9 for me, Matt, is Gunavera. Gunavera is a son of Dialed In out of an Unbridled mare. He's out of a slightly unknown trainer, Antonio Sano. And he's one of the most experienced horses on this list, Matt. He's run 6 times. He's won 3 of them. He's been beaten by some good horses in the others, 3 Rules and Classic Empire, namely. Gunavera, of course, has an explosive late run. He's going to be the late runner that keeps running good races along the preps and makes a move in the Derby. I'm not sure he's good enough, but if there's a lot of speed in the Derby, Gunavera is a horse that you should keep an eye on. Got that great closing kick, as I mentioned, and he's a graded stakes winner at both Saratoga, 1 turn, 2 turns at Delta Downs. He won both impressively.
And Gunavera's back in training, has 2 very fast workouts, Brian, recently for going 5 furlongs at 59:58 at Gulfstream Park West. So I found that really interesting that they're putting speed in him. Next one, we're at number 10, Brian, already. Ella Reeb, a visually impressive winner of the Jerome by more than 11 lengths on a track that was really wet and deep and soupy. He looked super. A lot of people talking a lot about Ella Reeb. Really good buyer speed figures in the 90s that I'd like to see in his last 2 stakes races. Trainer Cathal Lynch down at Laurel says this is the best 2-year-old he's ever trained. I got to say a little bit of wait and see because I don't know if anybody else liked that track that day. So I want to see him on a fast surface on the next stop in New York. In the Withers is probably where we're going to see.
Ella Reeb is a son of Exchange Rate, which does make me worry just a little bit about 10 furlongs, Matt. But that's all I'm going to say in the negative because I think he's looked great. He's progressed beautifully. Those races at Laurel looked good, and then the Jerome looked even better. Okay, number 11, I'm going to go American Anthem. This is the second Bob Baffert I mentioned, and this is the second Bob Baffert colt with a lot of hype. He, of course, is a son of Bodie Meister out of an AP Indy mare, so the classic Derby breeding is there. What I really like, Matt, and this is something you can't teach, is that he really was determined. He really dug in both of his starts. It looked like the speed horse was clear in that maiden race, and he went after him, and he got him all by himself. And then he came back in his second lifetime race, and we already talked about the Sham Stakes. He was game as game could be in the Sham against a more experienced Gormley. I think American Anthem has a world of upside. I can't wait to see how much he improves under the hands of Bob Baffert as we move along in the spring out on the West Coast in California.
Yeah, Brian, I like American Anthem too. I particularly was impressed. Keep in mind in that Sham, he was running on the rail the whole way. And that was tough for a horse that's only had 2 starts. Number 12 on the list is Good Samaritan. Brian, I'm going to go a little out of the box here. Good Samaritan has 3 fantastic races in his career, but they're all on the turf. He broke his maiden on the turf at Saratoga. He went up to Woodbine, got a grade 2 win in the Summer Stakes, and then finished 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Fillies juvenile turf, just missing by a length and a half. Good speed figures in them. I'm just curious. I'd like to see this horse on the dirt to see what he can do. He's trained by Bill Mott, and Bill Mott is pretty good with the surface changes, as we know. This is a Harlan's Holiday. That's good for the dirt, and it's a WinStar homebred.
Yeah, Matt, I like Good Samaritan too. He's not that far off the radar. He's been on my top 10 Derby lists all along. I want to see him on dirt too. I loved his turf races with a little bit of racing luck. He might be undefeated. That Breeders' Cup juvenile turf didn't have the best of trips. Bill Mott could be good on dirt. Number 13 for me, Matt, my last horse yet again is another Baffert. Now, Beach Bum didn't quite have the advanced billing or the hype that the 2 I mentioned previously did, but on his maiden race, just loved it. He rallied from middle pack to win going away 7 furlongs. I like that too, Matt. When a horse comes at 7 furlongs, it shows that they've got some stamina already underneath him. Beach Bum is a horse who's going to improve a lot. I love the breeding. He's out of Arch, out of a Stormcat mare, a stakes-winning Stormcat mare, at a distance. He's got a good female side. Like I said, impressive in that 7 furlong race. We're waiting for start number 2. He is back on the work tab recently. Beach Bum is another horse that I think should like the distance and has a world of potential.
Yeah, Brian, some of the same things that I think we both liked about Battalion Runner, we can say about Beach Bum. The 7 furlongs, a similar kind of nice 122 time, winning by open lengths. So I got my eye on Beach Bum also. And number 14 on our list is No Dozing. No Dozing finished second to Motown earlier in the year. And No Dozing is an improving son of Union Rags. We're already seeing these Union Rags runners do good things. We know Union Rags won the Belmont Stakes, so distances are no problem. No Dozing is from the owners of Barbaro. His second place finish in the Remsen made a nice closing move, and he's trained by up-and-coming trainer Arnaud Delacour, who has shown that he can win big races. So No Dozing is going to have to do better. I was a little unflattered.
I can't wait to see what Arnaud Delacour has to do with a Derby horse on the Derby Trail, Matt. I think Arnaud Delacour is a rising star in the training business. I, too, like Union Rags, and I, too, like this horse. I thought he closed really well in all his races. He's moved up. Nice horse. All right, folks. 14 minutes. That was rapid fire, and that was even maybe a little bit more rapid fire than Matt and I realized it was going to be. I hope you enjoyed the bells. Matt, did you take a breath yet?
Yes, Brian, I did. And, 14 horses, there's a lot. I feel like this year, Brian, there are so many more horses that are possibilities. I don't know. We could have gone 30, 40 deep in doing this.
I think with all those bells, Matt, it would have drove us a little crazy. So 14 was a good number. We each gave 7 out in our little draft style there. Folks, I hope you enjoyed our Kentucky Derby look. This is one of many Kentucky Derby looks we'll have along the way. Of course, just this past weekend, we saw the Sham Stakes. We talked about both the winner, Gormley, and American Anthem. What a nice race that was. And on the female side yesterday, Matt, I think you saw what I saw from that daughter of Tappet and Unrivaled Belle.
Yeah, wow. That really was a wow performance. Not just visually impressive, but open lengths and beating a very, very, very solid field. Yeah,
Unique Bella, of course, is going to be one to watch. I in my article, I said it was shades of Songbird. She's also trained by Jerry Hollendorfer. But if you haven't seen the Santa Ynez yet, I would say go ahead and watch that one. She did it so effortlessly. She looks like the real deal, maybe as good as any of the colts we just mentioned. All right, folks, that's another HorseCenter. As always, I'd like to thank our sponsor, the best contest site out there, that's Derby Wars. And I want to thank you for tuning in to HorseCenter each and every week with Matt and I. We appreciate it. Closing shots, Matt?
And yes, I got to give double thanks to our producer, Brett Workman, because I forgot to thank him last week. Thank you, Brett. You're the best.
Double thanks. Brett, you want to ring that bell one more time? There he is, folks. We'll see you next week on HorseCenter.
Racing. Unique Bella comes away okay. Shane's Girlfriend well away. Princess Karen coming through contesting the lead, and so is Resilient Humour getting amongst the early action along the inside. Unique Bella a close fourth, and her stablemate It Is Well last of the 5. As they link up with the main track, 3 of them going for it. Resilient Humour on the inside. Shane's Girlfriend and Princess Karen. Princess Karen sitting outside of Shane's Girlfriend after having broken from inside of her. Now Unique Bella, taken to the 4 path by Smith, is 2 lengths off the lead and making ground past the half mile, and a couple of lengths It Is Well. It's Resilient Humour just in front. from Shane's Girlfriend, Princess Karen and Unique Bella. 4 abreast in the Santa Ynez with 3/8 to run, and It Is Well is only 2 lengths away. Unique Bella rolls to the front. At the 5/16's pole, the grey moves out by 2 lengths, chased round the outside by stablemate It Is Well. Then comes Resilient Humour on the inside. Shane's Girlfriend is between horses. Then Princess Karen heading for home, and Smith has a good hold of Unique Bella, leading the way by 3 lengths, make it 4, without being asked a question. Past the 8th pole comes this imposing specimen who might be blessed with unique ability. Unique Bella absolutely cantering home in the Santa Ynez, winning with the greatest of ease, with It Is Well giving Hollendorfer the exacta. Shane's Girlfriend managed only 3rd.